Alright guys, lesson 9, dealing with negative numbers. So a lot of the same stuff we've been doing, but now we're just going to introduce negative. Up until now we've been talking or solving these problems with positive numbers. Now we're going to be dealing with negative numbers as well. So let's show that doing the same thing to each side works for negative numbers too. The I can statement is I can use the idea of doing the same to each side to solve the equations that have negative numbers or solutions. So we're on page 65, number 9.1. Which one doesn't belong? Rational number arithmetic. So go ahead and look at the four equations, hit pause, and figure out which one you don't think belongs. And then when you have an answer, go ahead and hit play, and we'll go through them. All right, hopefully you've had time to look at these. Remember, we can make a case for any one of these not belonging. Okay, you could say this first one doesn't belong because the equal sign is on the other side. Okay. You could say the second one doesn't belong because it's a subtraction problem instead of a multiplication problem. Same thing with the third one. You could say the third one doesn't belong because it's an addition problem. And the fourth one doesn't belong because the answer is wrong. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12, not negative 12. All right, let's get into the math. All the new ways to solve. Solve each equation, be prepared to explain your reasonings. Remember, our whole goal here is to get the x by itself. So we need to get rid of the number with the x. So x plus 6 equals 4. So to get rid of a plus, we do the opposite, which is minus 6. Minus 6. So using a calculator, 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Okay? The second one, x minus negative 4 equals negative 6. Okay, well, what happens when there's two minuses in the middle? It turns into a plus. So this is really x plus 4 equals negative 6. To get rid of a positive 4, we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. So negative 6 minus 4 using your calculator is going to be negative 10. The third one, 2 times x minus 1 equals negative 200. Okay. There's parentheses in it, so I'm going to divide first. So to get rid of the parentheses, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So that goes away. So I have x minus 1 equals negative 100 if I use my calculator. And then to get rid of a negative 1, we add 1, because the opposite of minus is plus. So minus 1, so we have x equals negative 99. And then the last problem, 2x plus negative 3, my negative's really not working, equals negative 23, okay? So here's my x, here's the equal sign. The first one we get rid of is the one not with x, so the minus 3. Even though it's an addition, the 3 itself is negative. So to get rid of a negative, we're going to add 3 to both sides. So negative 3 plus 3 goes away. Negative 23 minus 3 is negative 26, so we have 2x equals negative 26, okay? And then to get rid of the 2, we divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals negative 13, okay? So here are some equations that all have the same solution. Explain how you know that each equation has the same solution as the previous equation. Pause for discussion before moving to the next question. Keep your work secret from your partner. So how are these all the same? Well, x equals negative 6. Well, on this next one, they just subtracted 3 from both sides. So now we have x minus 3 equals negative 9. The next one's equal because they just flipped the order. The next one's equal because they just multiplied both sides by negative 100. The next one's the same because they just switched the order. So let's write these down as we go here. So here, the next step, they just minus 3 from both sides. Okay. This one, they just flipped the order, right? This one, they multiplied both sides by negative 100. This one, they flipped the order again. They just moved the 100 to the other end. And then this last one is they just used the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. Okay, so they're all the same type of problem. They just, if they did it to one side because it's equal, they have to do it to the other side as well. And that's it. That's it for the lesson today. Pretty short one. When we want to find a solution to an equation, sometimes we just think about the value in place of the variable that would make the equation true. Like what plus 4 equals 5? Well, 1 does, okay, instead of solving it out. Sometimes we perform the same operation on each side. For example, subtract the same amount from each side. The balanced hangers help us to understand that doing the same thing to each side of an equation keeps the equation true. Since negative numbers are just numbers, then doing the same thing to each side of an equation works for negative numbers as well. Here are some examples of equations that have negative numbers and steps you could take to solve them. Okay? So the first one, 2 times x minus 5 equals negative 6. So get rid of parentheses. They multiply by half, but that's the same as dividing by 2. And then x minus 5, to get rid of the minus 5, they add 5 to both sides. So negative 3 plus 5 is 2. The next one, negative 2x plus negative 5 equals 6. So here's the x. We get rid of the minus 5. To get rid of a minus 5, we do the opposite, which is add 5, or they subtract negative 5, which is the same thing. So then they have negative 2x equals 11. Well, to get rid of the negative 2x, divide both sides by negative 2, and they get 11 halves, or negative 5.5. Doing the same thing to each side maintains equality, even if it's not helpful in solving the unknown amount. For example, we could go negative 3x plus 7 equals negative 8 and add negative 2 to both sides. Okay, but that makes no sense because there's no negative 2. We don't need to get rid of it. It's just adding a step. Okay, and that says that down below. It says we are no closer to a solution than we are before adding number negative 2. We can use moves that maintain equality to make new equations that have the same solution. Helpful combinations of move will eventually lead to an equation like x equals 5, which gives us the answer. Okay. So on your assignment today, you're just solving equations. You're just finding out what is the answer to the variable on number 1. So number 1 on your assignment is the same as number 1 in your book, and then number 2 on your assignment is like number 4 in your book. You just got to come up with the right equation. All right. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always send me an email.